How you guys doing? This is Alan Peters, Peters Design Company. Today, I'm here to talk to you about one of my favorite prints I've ever created, this color bike print. Very simple, minimal, pops of primary colors, black lines running between it, and not a huge concept. More, the idea is that it's just beautiful to look at. So how did I get to this point? Let me walk you through the full process. So the whole thing starts with a bicycle, right? I was creating posters for a bike show called Art Crank that my buddy Charles Yola runs. Great guy, great. The whole thing is just it's like an excellent thing that he does for our community. And so I created many posters over the years for this Art Crank poster show, and every year I would try and come up with an idea of how can I kind of combine a bicycle with a really simple idea. So one year I did speed combined with a bicycle, and this year I was trying to combine a bicycle with beauty and color balance. And the key thing was the negative space. So let's take a look at this bicycle right here. Now I have a few bicycles. I've got a really nice racing truck that I got on trade from doing a speaking gig over at Trek. And I love that thing. And that's usually my go-to. But this is kind of my city bike. It only has 3 speeds. It looks cool. And it's not great on hills, but it looks cool. So that's, as a designer, I'm like, oh, I got the orange and I got the red and I'm matching my outfit to my bicycle. And hey, that's just something that I'll do with this bicycle. And when I first started with this bicycle, it looked nothing like this. Originally, it had a completely different frame even. I inherited it from my dad. It's a very tall bike that when you're little, you can't step over this thing. You'll just fall on your butt. But as I grew older, my dad ended up getting a nicer bike, and I inherited this old mint Fuji and started adding pieces to it. I got the Blaze Orange Deep V's on it. I got matching Blaze Orange grips. I switched the handlebars from more the ram horn style to this, where it's like I guess more like a steer that points out. I got the, got to have the Brooks saddle, right? The thing is so comfortable and so beautiful. So this bike is purely about aesthetics for me. I just wanted something that looks really great, that has nice pops of color and reflects who I am as a person, as a designer, and my overall visual aesthetic choices, right? And the reason I pulled this bicycle out to talk about is because at the time I was working at Target and I was biking to and from work every single day other than the winter. I tried in the winter a few times and fell on my butt. So let's not talk about that. This bicycle, when I would ride, I remember thinking about the graphics on it, because I always loved bicycle graphics, but I always thought, what a pain in the butt thing to design for, because you only have these really thin areas that you can work with, right here, around the wheels, the head badge up here, and there's not a lot of real estate, right? But a bicycle is still a big, and it's a beautiful thing, and it's a geometric thing. And when I started illustrating bikes a lot, I noticed a few things. One, a bicycle is basically 3 triangles and 2 circles, plus handlebars and a seat, right? So you got the 2 circles of the wheels, and you have a right side up triangle, upside down triangle, and then a right side up triangle. So very, very basic, simple shapes, right? And so that's one of the ways I went about choosing my color for my print. As you can see, I tried to pick as basic of a color palette as possible. I wanted bright colors, but I went with primaries, yellow, red, and blue. But with my overall style and the things that I like to pick, I like to warm things up a little bit. I like to make them seem inviting. Instead of a white paper, it's on this is like a cream. Instead of even all black, that black is a little warmed up, and it's a very, very dark gray with a heavy yellow in it. The mint is, obviously it's steering towards green from blue. The red, same thing, it gets a little orangey, And then that yellow is a nice goldenrod yellow. I'm getting a little bit of red in there just to warm it up. It kind of looks like if you chose these colors and then you held you chose like the primary like default colors, and then you looked at it under a sunset, like how it would look when it just got nice and toasty and beautiful. So one of my inspirations when piecing this whole thing together, I was looking at a lot of artists that, and myself at the time, I was doing a lot of color studies and composition studies, where my designs were it was less about concept or even subject matter, and more about, I call it shape color art. And it was about the shapes, the colors, and the composition and balancing them. And in school, I remember studying Mondrian, and Mondrian would do these color studies, very similar, where he would be balancing the primaries usually, and he would be trying to get that perfect balance, maybe like a heavy area of blue, but then just a few specks of yellow to really create some visual interest, maybe some medium shapes of red, balancing the whole thing out, getting that composition looking just right. And so I thought, what a great opportunity to take what I've been really passionate about, creating this shape color artwork, and apply it to a bicycle. But if you did just the frame, obviously it's not going to work. And so the bicycle is mainly illustrated by negative space, which is such an interesting thing, thinking about negative space, thinking about the negative space in your life, the little bits of quiet between the different events, between the different projects. Sometimes that's the best time of your life. And sometimes those are the best moments, those little times where, it's between going for a walk and eating dinner, and you just got a second of calm, and you sit down, and when your kids come, sits on your lap, and just you have a special moment of just pure quiet. Those are such special things. And so, negative space, making that the hero, is the idea behind this print. Yeah, so you can see how it all balances out. In terms of the bicycle, I went as minimal as possible. It is all perfect circles. I had a little bit of visual interest in the hubs, and this bicycle could be, it would look fine as a bicycle still if you got rid of the hubs on both wheels. The crankshaft you could probably do without that. The handlebar could be a straight line, but I really liked adding the circular flair to it to play off the bicycle wheels. Then I also liked just little things like, look at the inside of that hub, where it's this small blue that plays off the heavy red around it. Same with this one, where you have the cream of the paper surrounded by the yellow, and just the way it pops. And then the overall composition and balance of this nice balance of yellow, blue, and red in a really visually harmonious way. Well, thanks for listening to me chat for a little bit about one of my prints. I really appreciate that you guys have been watching, and make sure you keep coming back. Check out the shop. I got the color bike print on there for the first time, and there's going to be more and more things that I'm putting on there. And so, maybe you'll find something that you really like. Right now we're shipping to the United States, Canada, and Mexico. And just a heads up, with some of the shipping, it takes a little bit more time right now because of everything going on with COVID and factory situations. They're doing some of the printing overseas and in Europe. And so that stuff can take a little bit longer. But once everything's, we can bring everything back and we got the factories running and everything's back to normal in the U.S., then, it'll be all based here again. Hey, thanks a lot for your time. Bye, guys.